As you would have seen recently, we made a video going through why to upgrade your alternator, as well as a few examples in vehicles. Now in today's video, we're going to go through, once you have fitted the alternator, how to test it, if you're hearing some weird noises or something like that, what actually it might be, and how to test all that through now. So let's jump into it. Yes, you may have seen recently, we'll link this video down below, but it was a video going through about why you might upgrade your alternator, how to do it, and what's involved with it. Just quickly, here are a few little bits. This is a factory alternator out of this 70 series that's behind me here. This is one of the Black Series alternators we normally upgrade them with, and then we highly recommend one of the upgraded cabling kits. So one thing you might see is the cable might be getting hot, might be a lot of resist or volt drop in there. For most of these upgrade alternators, for you to still get the warranty terms on them, you have to upgrade the cabling. So we've got a whole range of kits available for certain vehicles that are pre-done with the cabling, conduit all done, as well as some nice brackets with the fuse holder already on them, come with a whole bunch of zip ties and a little cover to put on the positive terminal. So highly recommend these kits. They'll be linked down below. Now, in terms of tools that you'll need for this, you'll just need some general hand tools for actually testing tightness of stuff, which we'll get into that in a sec. But the main electrical tools that you'll need is a standard digital volt or multimeter, so like this Fluke one we've got here, and the other one, which is a bit more specialized, is a amp clamp. You have to make sure this amp clamp can also measure DC amperage. Some of them out there will only measure amperage over AC, so make sure you got one that will measure both AC and DC. So those are the two main tools that you'll need. We'll jump into this one here, cover all this now and jump into it, Alrighty, so we've just jumped in the engine bay. This is a brand new 2.8 70 series we got in the workshop. This one has been fitted with an upgraded alternator, one of the J-Lake Black Series units, as well as an upgraded wiring kit here. Now, once you've fitted the unit up, there's a few things you want to visually check beforehand before we start the vehicle and do any of that. Now, you want to check the belt. Now, if you have started the vehicle and you're hearing a weird squealing, make sure the belt's on right. If it's a multi-V belt alternator, which most of the new vehicles will be, make sure that it is set correctly and it's not off one tooth or something like that. That'll cause some weird noises to come on, so make sure that's correct. Other housekeeping items, check sure all your connections are tight. So the positive terminal on the alternator and all the upgraded cabling through here, make sure they're all tight and torque to spec. Make sure the bolts on the alternator itself to the alternator are all tight. And the last one, which is one of the most important ones, is the regulator plug that sits on the back of the alternator. Make sure that's on there tight and you hear a click, or make sure you got a good connection on there. Because if that's not connected, the alternator will cause some weird readings as well. So one thing you often see is you might turn the vehicle on to start with, you won't be getting 15 volts, and that's because the alternator can't actually see what the battery's at. It's just going to go put out whatever it can. It thinks is a massive drop. So check that, make sure that's all good. So the most common thing you see when an alternator is going is the belt and these weird voltage readings. So if you've got upgraded cable, it's all in there tight. You shouldn't be getting any weird voltage readings, so there should be no resistance, or low resistance I should say, in this circuit in here. So once you've checked all that visually, we can get into grabbing the tools out and testing how this goes. I'll show you how you get all connected. Alrighty, so I've just grabbed our multimeter and our amp clamp. I'll show you how you generally set these up. So the multimeter, the first one, you'll want to set it to volts DC. In this case, it'll be the volts with a sort of stable line and a little line across there. That's volts DC. Some of your more older or more basic style multimeters will have a range. In this case, you generally want to set it to that 20 volt range if needs be. Whereas most of your sort of higher end multimeters will have a auto ranging feature like this Fluke does. Then you just sort of want to set them up in a way where they'll sort of support themselves. So most negatives are pretty easy. You can normally set them sort of about there on the stud. On this case with the positive, I'll just sort of sit over here, and then you can see we're sitting at 12.88 volts. So that battery is pretty full, pretty well charged, so we know that that's going to be good. Before you test an alternator, you really want to make sure your battery is good, because if you have got a faulty battery, it will sort of make your results be skewed. So make sure that's all good. Next thing we've got is our amp clamp. So these are a bit different with everyone, but this one we've got a range of 40 or 400 amps. In this case, 40 is not going to be enough, so I'm going to turn it all the way up to 40 amps, so 400. And that's 400 amps DC. Now, one thing you'll see on an amp clamp is there's generally a sort of static loss that it sort of reads. So before you ever do these, you just want to zero them. So in this case, we just hold the button down, change it back to 0, so we know we've got a 0 amp current. The other thing which is useful for these, if you were testing something like the vehicle's already running and you want to measure excess current, what you can do then, put this clamp over, get your factory reading, let's say that's 50 amps going through, zero it again, and then change it from there. So really useful to be able to use that feature. Now, with these amp clamps, there is a way to read through them. You generally want to make sure you get the right way around. It's not really super important, but I'll just say if you get the one around, it'll just say negative current versus positive current. So you can just read that the right way around. What we're going to want to do is put this over the alternator cable. Now, if you've got one of these wiring kits, I'll make it super easy because you've already got an alternator cable going up here, through here to here. Now, in this case, I'm just going to clamp it over next to where the fuse is here, and then you'll be able to see the reading right there. So it keeps it nice and easy. You can do off a factory cable near the alternator. It gets pretty hard to get down there and still be able to read it, but doing this allows you to still have an easy to read answer while still being relatively easy to connect up to. So next thing we want to be able to do is turn on the vehicle, get some loads going, and then measure both this voltage and the current coming out of the alternator. So I'll go in, turn on the car. If you've got spotties, you've got a DC-DC charger, anything like that, get it on. Spotties, headlights, air conditioner, get a load going off the system. Then make sure the alternator's got a decent load, and then we can test what we're getting specs-wise out of this thing. So I'll go turn it on, and we'll jump back about how this looks. All right, so we've turned the vehicle on now, so we'll be able to see what we're getting load-wise. On the multimeter, we're getting 14 volts, which is a good stable amount. Generally, you'll want to see anywhere from 13.85 to about 14.4 volts. If you're reading anything above that, it means the alternator might possibly be overcharging. That could be a faulty reg. Biggest, most common thing we see is people might not have connected the regulator plug directly, so the alternator is over-regulating itself. But make sure that's connected really well. The other thing, if it's too low, the alternator could be not producing enough power, or it could be under too much load. Now, the way we check how much load we've got is checking down the amp clamp. So down here on the amp clamp, I can see we're getting about a stable 50-ish amps out of the system, so that's pretty good. This alternator is a 240 amp alternator. We've seen idle these get up to about 100, 110 amps, so there isn't much load actually on this system at the moment, where the spotties aren't actually finished yet, so they won't actually be turning anything on. This is factory load, so that's what we expect out of these systems. So make sure you'll be able to see both the stable voltage and current. So make sure you don't just want to be watching one at a time. If you're only watching your current per se, you might be getting 200 amps at the alternator, but there's only going to be 12 volts coming out of the system. So you want to make sure both of them are happening at the same time. You're not getting too much heat. If you have got a heat gun or a heat monitor, just check over the alternator and see that it's not getting overly hot. So just before we finish up, one question we have been asked specifically about our alternator wiring kits is on the negative side of the vehicle. Now, as you can probably imagine, the alternator is earthed through the motor, back through the chassis that whole way through. So there's plenty of metal there to allow for that extra current to go through. There's not going to be a high resistance across that circuit. Now, the question has come from the battery negative to the chassis. Whenever we're doing a sort of setup on a vehicle, we try and avoid putting negatives to the factory battery. You can see here this vehicle's got a whole bunch of stuff added on. We've only got one cable here, which is just the factory earth. This one's been changed slightly because we had to extend it for the start battery isolator, but generally we leave the earth here and then go to factory earth points that are in the vehicle already. Now in this case, there's a battery earth points just behind the battery here. We use them. That way the current's going directly through the alternator, back through the chassis to that point there. So it's not going to go through this cable at all. It's just going through the chassis. This cable doesn't be upgraded. If you are looking at putting all your negatives back to the battery, or you're looking at fitting something high current, like a winch, for example, then we probably would look at upgrading the negative from the start battery to the chassis, just to allow for that bit extra current to go back all the way through the system. So not 100% needed in most cases, just making sure that your chassis earthing things up near the battery on good guaranteed earths. Now when we say good guaranteed earths, that's a factory earth point that may already exist. If there's a factory bolt hole, it might be painted over. If you're going to use that, make sure you tap it out, get rid of that paint so that it does allow for a good earth. Just like self-tapping a screw directly into the chassis won't give you a guaranteed earth. You got to make sure you're using good factory earth where there'll be low resistance and no chance for corrosion over a long time. So make sure that you do that properly. Our recommendation is if you do want to upgrade the earth, you can do that, but I'd only really do it if you are looking at putting something high current directly on the battery negative. Otherwise, you should be fine in most situations. Alrighty, so that pretty much covers most of it in terms of the testing the alternator, whether that both be on the voltage and the current side. It's got to make sure you're doing both of them at the same time to get a good reading. Now, in summary, there are a few things to keep in mind. One thing which I didn't mention is the dash lights. You got to make sure whenever you turn the vehicle on that there's no dash lights on it. If there is, that could mean that there's a compatibility problem with the regulator. If there is, it's likely that you'll see an issue with the voltage or the current side of things. So check that when you first turn it on before you start doing load testing sides of things as well. And now also mentioning, double check the belt. So as we said, make sure the teeth are all correct. The belt isn't on one side or off one alignment of the teeth. Also make sure that your tensioner is on there tight. The belt hasn't got any cracks. Just good visual inspection tools. Just make sure that nothing's going to be loose, and then checking that all these are tight. Once that's all done, you can go through and test all this. So if you want to get something like your own vehicle tested, or you just want to go through it all, or maybe after a kit get fit up for your vehicle, make sure you head on over to elevateauto.com.au. Or if you've got any questions, I'll leave them down below, or flick us an email at info@elevateauto.com.au. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.